Hello friends! Mask making has become my new hobby during the pandemic. I am determined to finally film and put this mask video together. I've tried 3 times. So let's just jump in. You need a pattern, you need material, and then you need something to tie it on with, and I have elastic. Oh, you also need scissors, thread, and I use safety pins. So this particular pattern is my favorite. I've tried 3 so far. This one gives the most room for your nose. It's a little bit more comfortable on the bridge of your nose. So I picked this because this one is not symmetrical. When you trace it out on your fabric, you trace it once and then you need to flip it. Another thing I noticed about this pattern once I started using it is that because I'm hand sewing these masks, I need a little extra material to work with. So first of all, I drew the pattern a little bit bigger than the original pattern I got off the internet to give myself some more room. And then since I've been making masks, I have added 1/4 to 1/2 inch on the bottom. Well, it's not really the bottom, this is the part that goes by your face. And that's where you put the elastic in. So here you go, you can see where I went ahead and traced out the blue pattern on the pink material. So I'm doing my best to follow the pattern and cut this out. What I realized though is that the edges of this are all going to be turned inside out. So if it's not perfectly cut out, nobody's ever gonna see it. So I finished cutting my pink fabric and now I'm going to pin it together so that I can sew it. I want the sides that are going to be the outside of the mask to face each other. And so in order to do that, the sides that have the blue outline that I traced, those are gonna be facing out. Again, since this mask has a different nose piece, and that is kind of important to line up, that's what I'm gonna use to line up the pieces. I like to use safety pins because I'm hand sewing this mask and I don't want to poke myself with another kind of pin. And I have these on hand. Now that I've pinned the mask, I'm ready to sew this edge together. The pink's gonna be my outside piece. So I'm gonna get my thread, gonna thread my needle, and I am going to double knot my thread. I'm gonna do what I think is called the back stitch, where you go in, come back up through the fabric, and then stitch backwards. To make a more secure stitch. It takes me a few stitches to get comfortable. And then I get on a roll and I kind of enjoy it, which is why this has become a hobby of mine. So I finished sewing the pink. Earlier I finished sewing the gray. To be fair, I went back over the pink twice just to make it a little stronger because it's going to be the outside of the mask. I'm gonna try using this little camera to see if I can show you better up close what I'm doing. Because now we need to put the pink and the gray together. So I'm gonna open up the pink. And this would be the inside. I'm leaving the out. You're still working with the inside out. And then here's the nose piece. So nose piece is at the top of the pink and nose piece is here at the top of the gray. And I am opening that up. and placing nose piece to nose piece. I'm trying to line this up. Yeah, it works pretty well. So use my little safety pin again. Give myself room to stitch around it. There, and that's lined up. Okay, so I've taken a few minutes to line up the inside and outside pieces of my mask. We're still working with it inside out. So we'll get our thread, and again, stitching across the top. And I will be going over the nose piece, leaving these small edges open with the same back stitch that I did before. So going in from the top, and I'm leaving myself some room just because I'm hand stitching. That's why I made the pattern a little bit bigger than what was on the internet, because the ones on the internet seemed to be made for people that had sewing machines. And I'm sewing this by hand, and I just need a little extra room to work with. So I'm gonna get going with this again, and I may have said this earlier, or may have cut that part out. As I keep going, my stitches get neater. I kind of relax into the hand sewing part of it. And it actually becomes an enjoyable little hobby. And I'm making something. I'm making something I can share with my friend, and making something that is functional. And that's kind of me. I like making things that work. I like learning how things work, and I like making things that work. And so I hope that this video will let you see that part of me and show you that as hard as I've tried to make it look easy, I'm not gonna lie, it's not foolproof, but it's not difficult to sew a mask. And it is, right now during quarantine time, if it's something that you're at all interested in, it's kind of fun. I never got into sewing with a sewing machine, but I've always been able to hand sew and sew buttons and sew S-O instead of S-E-W. Now, as cheesy as that sounds, now I'm able to sew masks. And if I show this part, you will see that I just made the messiest stitch ever, but it really doesn't matter. I'm gonna straighten it out with my next stitch. And I'm gonna keep sewing this, and then I'm gonna cut away and come back and show you the next steps. So I finished sewing the mask. I am gonna take all my safety pins out. Thank you, safety pins. I sewed around the top. I sewed around the bottom. And now we are ready to turn the mask right side out. I didn't sew the ends. All those seams we were worried about being ugly, they're all on the inside of the mask now, so nobody's gonna see them. So there you go. See? The iron comes in really handy because now I need to make a little place for the elastic to go so that it can go around the head. And in this mask, this is the same design, but it's a different material. I created space for one piece of elastic to be able to slide through and adjust. And I'm gonna do the same thing for this one. My iron is gonna help me as much as it can to create a fold that's gonna hold down while I sew these pieces together. Okay, so now what we wanna do is create a little space for the elastic where it will be able to move. And I'm gonna use the same back stitch that I've been using throughout. And the nice thing about bandanas is they come in a lot of different colors, but pretty much all of them also have white and black. So I'm using white thread, and I didn't have to go get pink or gray thread to sew this particular mask. There are white accents in the pattern of the bandana. And so, yeah, it's coming along. I'm just gonna trim this a little bit. And I've done both sides. Just see how this fits. So now I'm going to show you how to get this elastic to go through here. And we're almost finished. I learned this trick from my mom, I think. And you've probably seen this before if you've ever had a hoodie and lost the string, or an old pair of sweatpants, and you take it out completely and then you use a safety pin. And then what we're gonna do is just thread the safety pin through and pull it out the other side, and now it has brought our elastic through for us, which is great, yay! I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna turn the mask around. I'm gonna take it down through the other side. If I can get it. Here we go. Yay! So now our elastic has been threaded through the mask. Thank you, camera 2. Look at that. And so what we need to do now is we need to attach the elastic to itself. We said goodbye to camera number 2. Hopefully you can see me just fine. I'm gonna use the safety pin. I'm just gonna stick him right through the middle while I do my best to stitch it together. The other thing you could do is you could actually just tie the elastic. This particular piece is, I don't have a ton to work with. It's not really big, so that's why I'm taking the time to stitch it down. There are other videos out there on how to make straps out of an old t-shirt. So I would say to make the straps to attach it, either use elastic that you have. Elastic comes from plenty of places around your house, believe it or not. I have found and used elastic from some shower caps that I didn't end up using. I got some shower caps from a discount store and they had colors on them. And when I got into the shower, the colors ran off and actually got all over me. But the elastic in them was good, and so I used a seam ripper. You could also use scissors. Carefully cut the elastic out, and that's actually where this elastic came from. If you don't have elastic handy, you probably can find it somewhere around your house in something. Don't give up. But also, like I said, I've seen videos where people show you how to create straps using an old t-shirt, and they look really comfortable. And part of how to do that is You create a strap out of the old t-shirt and you use the same little technique I did with the safety pin to thread it through the mask. And it works really well. I've been having fun making masks. I would say if you're gonna make your own, take 2 to 3 days to do it. Don't try to do it all in one day. Take the time to draw out the pattern, cut out the material, and then set it aside. Or draw out the pattern, cut out the material, pin it up. And then if you want, do those first stitches, you know, around this edge of the mask, and then just put it down, and then come back to it tomorrow and open it up and safety pin it together and sew the 2 pieces together, and then set it down again. And then the next day, come back and iron it and fold it over and sew it so that you can put elastic in. And then put your elastic in, or whatever straps you want to use to attach it to your head. So I think that looks pretty strong. This guy's done. And so now I'm going to do the same thing that I've done with all of my other stitches, is finish them off and tie them off. So here's my favorite mask. And here is the new mask I did. Cute, huh? Yay! Thank you for watching. Thank you for indulging in my mask making habit with me. Try this on your own. It's fun. And it's given me a little bit of sense of control during this weird, crazy time that people are going to talk about long after we're all gone.